Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Unless you are new here, then hi, I'm Shane and I have a lot of animals and I like to talk about it on the internet. Okay, my bearded dragon is being absolutely tortured right now. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I put my bin of crickets down because I'm gonna be like showing you it in the video, and I put it right next to her enclosure and she's sitting trying to get to them. Okay, I need to move them because that's so mean. Hold on. I don't know if my microphone was plugged in. We should be synced up now, hopefully. Today we are going to be talking about something that is probably like right at the top of my list of least favorite things to talk about, which is money. I have a feeling I'm probably not the only person who feels this way about money and talking about money, as it can be like a really stressful and uncomfortable conversation sometimes, but it's also a really important thing to think about when you want to get into keeping animals, even if you want to get a dog or a cat. You know, are you financially stable enough and can you afford to have them? I get a lot of questions about if it's expensive for me to keep animals like this, and the answer is yeah, it can be for sure. There's also really good ways to budget and figure things out, but it can be expensive. And you have to remember that you're not only feeding them, it's enclosures, enclosure upgrades, your lights, which are never cheap, unless you can find some good halogen bulbs that are not super expensive and still work well. But your best bets are like Arcadia lights and hoods, and those are expensive. On Instagram and in my DMs, people DM me asking about it and what I do to budget and tips for that. And if you ever are curious, I answer all of my DMs on Instagram at Shane's Reptiles, and you can message me and I will help you as best as I can. So on that note, what's it like having so many animals? If you look on the internet, I don't really have very many animals. In fact, I'm like pretty beginner compared to the people on here who have literally 100 or more or hundreds. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the money I spend on a regular basis for keeping the amount of animals that I have. I don't want this video to be taken in a wrong way. I mean, I don't know exactly how it could be, but I'm sure it could be. I'm just talking about this to just show you kind of what it's like, and to make sure you're prepared if you want to start keeping animals or multiple. And I'm just gonna let you in on what it's like for me. So today I did a little shop where I basically got my basic things that I need. I'm going to show you what I got and what those things cost. Also, I am Canadian, so think about this in Canadian currency. So before I get fully into this, I get my feeder insects and things like that from different places and through different things in bulk, so it's cheaper for me. But if I run out before my next weekly or monthly shipment of those things, I will go to a more commercial chain pet store or an independent pet store and pick up things. And my favorite one was closed, and also it's a farther drive from where I am, where my favorite place for animals, where I got my tarantula and my Pac-Man frog. So I had to go to a, big chain pet store. So I would say I do end up spending a little bit more money because it is more expensive at places like that. So first of all, not exactly a need, but I noticed that my fish tank was having a lot of rapid algae growth, and I have tested everything, and I mean, I don't really see exactly why, except for maybe just there's real plants in there, it's getting UVB, and so obviously there's going to be growth. So I got 4 snails. I honestly can't remember what they were called, but I got 4 snails, the little snails that will eat algae in your fish tanks. I got 4 of them, and I put them into my 10-gallon fish tank with my beta fish, BJ, which means Brady Jr., and yeah, I just kind of want them to go around and eat up the algae, and yeah, that's what I got them for. Next, I'm going to show you the 2 things that I got that were not feeders, and then we will go through the feeders after that. So I got this pack of Thrive flavored jelly insect food. It comes with 8 little pots of food. They're flavored like mango, banana, strawberry, and honey. How fun. You can give these to your reptiles as a little treat, like your bearded dragon, leopard gecko, or crested gecko. I wouldn't, just because I don't really know about that. I haven't done any research on it, but it does say that. But don't take that from me. I just saw them, and I've been just doing cricket quencher recently, and I kind of was over it because it was starting to smell a little funky. So I just picked this up. I've already used 3, as you can see, and it cost $8.99. So there's that. Something that I think is an absolute must-have if you have reptiles or animals with enclosures that need lights. Even if you just have one, I think it's really great. But if you have lots or multiple, it's an absolute 100% you need it. And I have 5 enclosures with lights that are switching all the time. Oh, 6 actually. And timers are an absolute must, and mine broke. So I picked up a new one. This is the Zoom Ed one. I have a Zoom Ed one, but it's smaller, so I picked up the bigger one. Why don't we just take it out of the package here? You set what you want for your day and night cycle on here, plug in your lamps, and then they will switch on and off at whatever times you want them to switch on and off. These are an absolute lifesaver, especially if I need to go away for, let's say I go away for 2 or 3 nights. I need someone to come and be feeding my animals and giving them water and checking on them. But that would also mean if I didn't have a timer, they would have to be coming in the morning to flip on lights and coming at night to flip off lights. But if you have something like this, you don't have to worry about that. And even when you're just home, you don't have to worry about that. I just go to bed, wake up, and I don't have to deal with flipping on and off lights. Also, like, if I want to go to a friend's house and I come home at midnight, I can do that. Otherwise, I'd be worried, no, I gotta make sure I'm staying on my day and night cycle. I gotta go home to flip off my reptile lights. $41.99. So I thought that was, it's a hefty amount of money. Like, for me, that is a lot of money, and for a lot of people, that's a lot of money, and I completely understand that not everyone can grab one of these, but if you can, definitely recommend because it's a lifesaver. Okay, so feeders, the first thing I got was just 50 superworms. I personally believe that superworms should be more of a treat than a main source of protein for your reptiles, but I do use them relatively often, and I do think they're a really good source, especially for skinny lizards. The superworms were $7.99. If we want to talk about treat feeders, I have some right here. This is hornworms. I picked up 6, which I know is not very many. Like I said, these are much more of a treat feeder, like way more. They're really fatty and also really juicy and make a mess, especially if you have a dramatic lizard or animal. I will give one of these to my Pac-Man frog because my Pac-Man frog does not eat very much because he's still settling in. So this will be good for him. And my bearded dragon gets one every little once in a while. I'll probably give one to my tarantula. I got 6 and I got 3 small ones and 3 bigger ones. So the bigger ones for my lizards, and my Pac-Man frog could take a bigger one. My boyfriend just Snapchatted me. The hornworms were $1.49 each, so in the end I ended up spending $9.54 on hornworms. And last but not least, the thing that has been driving my bearded dragon absolutely wild is crickets. This is where I keep my crickets because I don't keep very many at once because I pick them up fresh. So I try to go through them before I get more, basically. Otherwise I just end up with a huge amount of dead crickets and it just feels like such a waste. So I picked up 100 crickets. These are small crickets, but I also have another container which has large crickets in it, but I already had those, so I'm not going to include them in this video. So I got small crickets. It's 15 cents per cricket regularly, but when you get a certain amount, the more you get, the less the crickets cost. So for me, they ended up being 12 cents each since I got 100, so I ended up paying $12. Also, keep in mind, I have to get a lot of crickets because I have a lot of animals that eat crickets. I have a leopard gecko that eats crickets, a bearded dragon that eats crickets, a Pac-Man frog that eats crickets, a mantis that eats crickets, and a tarantula that eats crickets. I'm currently editing, and I'm realizing that I didn't mention a lot of things. Like my bearded dragon, she eats a variety of bugs on top of collard greens, like kale. She eats carrot leaves, she eats fruits, other vegetables, squashes. Literally, she has such a wide variety in her diet, and that can also be costly to keep up with.
as well as supplements for your animals.
And then I got one medium-sized mouse and one large rat for my milk snake and my ball python. For the one rat, that was $17.99, and for the mouse, it was $16.99. Oh, my leopard gecko is out. Oh god, he's so cute. Okay, let me show you. Oh god, he's so cute. Look at him, he looks so sleepy. He looks so sleepy, he's so cute. Oh, I just realized I haven't actually told you guys about the leopard gecko yet, but I did rescue him about a week ago. Video on him soon. Anyway, so for total it was $122.48, but with taxes it ended up costing me $137.05. And of course, with my luck, my Apple Pay wasn't working, but thank God my best friend Jude was with me, and if you've watched my vlogs, then you've probably seen Jude, like my grad and dry grad and boat cruise vlogs. Jude is in them. Praise. He was with me and he paid for them, and then I just e-transferred him. Thank you, Jude. I don't know what I would have done if I was alone. Anyway, so I know that was a relatively short video, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like, just because keeping animals is really a commitment. I can't stress that enough, and especially exotic animals that live longer. If you are gonna go and pick up a ball python, you're like, oh, look at this little ball python, like, so cute. First of all, it's gonna get bigger. If you're getting it when it's a baby, it's not gonna stay that little snake forever. And it's gonna live 20 odd or more years. So you have to keep that in mind. And different animals are going to live different lengths of time. If you're like, wow, look at that tortoise, that's so cute. First of all, depending on the kind of tortoise you get, it could possibly get massive. And not only that, it will live long enough that you'll be putting it in your will to leave to your children or grandchildren, because they live a long time. Yeah, I just can't stress enough how much you have to think about these things, and don't make rash decisions when purchasing animals, because you want to be prepared to care for them. You are all they have for their whole entire life, so make sure you're prepared to give them a proper, healthy, and enriched life. Thank you so much for watching this video. It may have seemed random to you, but I get a lot of questions about this topic, so I wanted to jump into it and talk about it a little bit and give you guys just a little bit of a taste of what it's like, and, you know, try to prepare you for if you have plans to get into this in the future or are starting to now. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and if you stayed to the end, comment what's your favorite reptile? What animal are you trying to get your hands on? What is your dream pet to have? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!